Hey, it has been a while. It feels like it's been a really while since I've sat down, had a little chat, and talked about what I recently read and what I plan on reading and what I am currently reading. And so I decided today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it. And I am trying to get myself situated because I'm never situated, but that's how it goes, right? It has been kind of crazy around here. We had kind of a family friend emergency last week, so I have been kind of all over the place, and I'm just now like getting my bearings in with myself again. And it's been just kind of reconnecting with my routine, which I am just desperately needed for my mental health. My mental health always takes a nosedive when my routine isn't set, because I have discovered that I need a routine. I used to be the kind of girl who would like fly by the seat of her pants, do whatever. And I realized that as I've gotten older, that kind of affects my mental health status a lot. And since it's one of those things where I'm trying to make sure that I'm present for my family, I need to have my routine. My routine is very important. But how would I have known when I was younger, because I didn't know that I had mental illness? So getting diagnosed has really changed my life. Anyway, that's a whole story for another day, but it's just getting back to the routine, sitting down with my coffee and chatting with you about books is wonderful. So I have, since June 1st, I have been trying to find the high that Fourth Wing gave me. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I read at the end of May. I could not put it down. I just needed an escape. I don't think so Fourth Wing is kind of going around everywhere. It is definitely one of my favorite books of the year, but not because it's substance. Like, I'm very aware it is this book that is not great. Okay, so it's not literary. Like, that's what I mean. Okay, so I mean, like, I wouldn't put it in the same category as a book that has really deep, impactful, meaningful things to say. It really doesn't have anything meaningful to say, but the character study in it, the friend or the enemies to lovers in it, and the world building and the dragons, they're all great. And it's so fast paced. There's like something is happening every page. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed having a book thoroughly suck me in to like where I wanted to be in the world. I haven't had that since I haven't had that in a long time. I can't remember the last book. I always want to say Harry Potter, but Harry Potter was part of my growing up. So it's kind of hard to say like anything since then. So this one, I hope the author stays unproblematic, because I really just enjoyed her world. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the dragons so much. So I have kind of been sitting in June like on this like I don't know what I want to read kind of journey. And everything I've read this month so far has been good, but not great, if that makes sense. Like it's good, but it's not like, oh my gosh, 5 stars, love it, love it, love it. I don't think I've given anything 5 stars as I'm looking. I given, so I've read 4 books since the beginning of June. 3 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars. So yeah, 2 4 stars, 2 3 stars. So I kind of have had just, 4 stars isn't bad. It's just not an all-time favorite. So the first one that I read this month was Good Rich People by Eliza Jane Brazier. And this one I gave 4 stars to. This one is just wild. I got it because a friend called it batshit crazy, and that it exactly was. I just needed something weird and crazy and completely unrealistic. This story is about a woman who is married to a man who's super rich, and they live in this mansion. I think it's in LA, in California, and they live in this mansion with their mother-in-law, who lives in this, like, her mother-in-law's home. And then they have this, like, extra guest house where they rent it out to people, and he plays games on them to ruin their lives, the husband does. But this time, because she got involved with the last one, he wants her to do the crazy things to this woman. And there's so many different things, and it goes back and forth between the wife and the house guests' points of view. There's nothing more ridiculous than just, it's not realistic. This stuff couldn't happen. It's just so silly. And it was exactly what I needed. I can't tell you what everything happened in it, but it was fun. It was fun to be like, really? That's what's is really this is okay. This is where this is going, and we're really going there. And that's kind of what I needed. And so I gave that one 4 stars. The average that people give it is 3.25. So it's not by any means something that's gonna, win awards, but I enjoyed it immensely. And then the next one I read, I've been wanting to read this one. So this one kind of was a little bit of a letdown for me. I've been wanting to read, and I have it right here, actually. I wanted to read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies for the whole year. I've had this book since, I think, January or February. The cover is fantastic. Like, the cover is fantastic. Oh, fairies. Okay. And, like, it says a charming, whimsical delight. And the character is it seems like she's on the spectrum of some sort. She is very interesting. Emily is so focused on science, and she's so focused on her collecting data of fairies. And then, so she's in this, I can't remember where they were. Where did she go? Village of Franzik. I think that's what it is. But the Uselanders. So I think was it Sweden? I don't know, but it's somewhere in Europe, and they're searching for fairies. The people in this town are having their children disappear and turn into changelings a lot more frequently than other places. And so that's fascinating. And while she is there, her colleague in the university comes, and he's like somebody who she finds like kind of lazy, and she doesn't really like working with him. And so it's kind of like she's the grump and he's the sunshine. He just doesn't care. So it's kind of a grump sunshine. There's a little bit of a romance in there. What else? The whole problem that I had with this, and I love the little footnotes. I actually really liked the sciencey thing. So there's like little footnotes about fairies and gives you a lot of background into fairies. I think what I had problems with was the plot. Theirs is like a 350-page book, if I remember correctly. About 300-page book. And it didn't feel like, it felt at once nothing happened and everything happened. And I struggled with that. I struggled with it a lot because I was like, what is going on? And then it'd be like, oh, okay. And Heather Fawcett weaved those stories together really well in the end. But I felt like each little story and section could have been its own book. So it felt like very truncated and also very long. It was really hard to explain. I wanted the banter between the main characters to be a little bit more bantery, but I think because of who Emily as a character is, she's not gonna be that bantery. And so I'm excited to pick up the second one. I did get approved for it through NetGalley, so I'm gonna be reading it this summer. I wanna give a little bit of space between them, and I'm hoping that she cleans up a little bit of the issues, because this is now a series. I think she's going to clean up some of the issues, and I definitely want to read more in it. It just was more 3.5. It's not my favorite. It's not one that I'm gonna, I don't know. And like, it's hard because I want to keep in the series. Is it one that I'm gonna pick up again? I don't know, but I'm gonna keep the cover. I'm gonna keep it in my collection because I love this cover. And this is the UK cover. I actually ordered it from Waterstones because I wanted the UK cover. I like the American cover, but I loved this. And so I'm gonna have to, if I order the second one after reading The Galley, I will have to get the UK cover to keep going because I love it. So yeah, that's one I'm okay with having the cover. And then the third book I read and duo, like read and in tandem did the audio through Hoopla, which is The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashino. And it is a Japanese translation of a police procedural. I can't talk, apparently. And this book was good. Like, there's nothing wrong with this book. It's about a woman, and you find this out in the first couple chapters. The woman has an ex-husband who's kind of stalkery. He's not a great human, and her daughter accidentally murder him. And then it's them covering it up with their next door neighbor. And it's so you get that side of it, which I found really cool. You get that side of it where they're trying to cover it up, and then you've got the police who are not buying their story but trying to figure out what happened to him. And so the whole time you're going back and forth with science and math, because the neighbor is a mathematician and he's really good at math. So he's like done all the probabilities of the police, like this is what the police are going to do, so do this. And so it's very interesting. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the writing style. I didn't really, I have discovered with myself, if I don't bond with the characters, it's not going to be a favorite. And this one, I didn't bond with the characters. I didn't care for the characters. Like, I'm not a sciencey math person. And so while I appreciated how much work went into it, they weren't my favorite. I did like the one professor, and the cop had a relationship with the professor. And so I'm hoping, I want to pick up the second one because it sounds like fun to pick up another one. And I want to pick it up just to see if I like the series, but I gave it a solid 3. It was for the Literally Dead book club pick by Books and Lala. She does it on Goodreads. And it was an interesting choice. Of the ones that we've read this year, I've enjoyed this one probably more than most of them. It's been such a hit or miss with Literally Dead Book Club this year for me. And I just wonder if I'm going to keep going with them. I really enjoy discussing books, but maybe I need to find just a buddy or a buddy read or something. Sometimes I don't even know how to find a buddy to read with that works with my schedule and likes the same books as me. But I think maybe that's the route I need to go, because I'm just, I'm not vibing with them as I used to. And I don't know, I feel like my reading is changing a little bit. What I'm enjoying is changing. And it's just a season, right? It's just a season. We all have different seasons of what books we like. I mean, for the last couple of years, I haven't even been able to read a romance. And now I loved Happy Place by Emily Henry last month. That was one of my favorites in May. What was the other one that was my favorite? Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing was a fantasy romance. It was heavy on the romance, and I loved that. So maybe I'm getting back into, light and romantic because I'm not feeling the police procedurals. I'm not feeling extreme horror. I don't know. But the next book that I read this recently, and this doesn't come out until July, so this was a NetGalley, is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. It's my first Darcy Coates. I've heard so many good things about her as an author, and I've wanted to pick one up, and I saw it on NetGalley, and I thought, oh, okay, let's do this. So Dead of Winter is a locked room mystery thriller, slasher, horror. So it's a little bit of both. It is what I wanted One by One by Ruth Ware to be. It was action-packed. A lot happened in the pages, and it was like, I mean, it didn't scare me, but it was like, what, at times. And so this woman, Krista, she ends up trapped. So she was going on a resort ski trip with her fiance, and they get stuck isolated in a cabin with the 8 other people that were going on this trip. They're all strangers, and then one by one they start getting picked off and murdered. And so they're like, well, we're in the middle of nowhere. We can't get anywhere in the Rocky Mountains. People can't get to us. We have no cell reception. We're in the middle of a blizzard. And so it's one of you. So it's like the whole time you're like, who is it? Who's murdering all these people? Because one person is always like, you think it could be this person, but then 5 people are going out with that person. And it's never just one person goes and the next person comes back dead. And the way that their bodies are found is really, really gruesome, which is something that I did not expect, but it was great. I wouldn't go into this reading the synopsis. I was a little disappointed with how much the synopsis gave away, because I would have been a lot more shocked, and I wish I could have been a lot more shocked. So I would suggest, if you go into this one, just go in knowing it's kind of like One by One by Ruth Ware, which I know One by One was a retelling of Then and Then There Were None, and this one could kind of be a retelling of There Were None, but it was fun. It was 4 stars, solid. The reason it wasn't 5 is because it's not a favorite, and I didn't connect completely with Krista, and I predicted the ending right away. But I do that a lot, so I predicted it, and that was kind of sad for me, but I enjoyed it. And that one was the last one that I've read recently, and now I'm starting to read. I'm trying to get into a couple different books. So I started on my Kindle. I started A Place for Us by Brandon J. Wolfe, and this one is a memoir. I got it through Kindle First Reads, or Amazon's First Reads, and Brandon J. Wolfe is an activist, but also he's a survivor of the Pulse nightclub. And so this one's really hard. It's really important. I definitely feel like this one's important because he is a half Black queer man, and there's so much like trying to find a place in the world, and I can already feel that. And I'm only 25% into the book. I'm about 50 pages in, and it is devastating to read his account. And it doesn't just start at the nightclub. It starts really young. Like, so this is the first chapter. He loses his mom. He loses his mom young, and his dad that he lives with is white, but also his stepdad. So he's trying, like, you can see through every chapter that I've read so far, he is really trying to figure out a place where he belongs. In every space he is in, he doesn't belong. And this is the sad reality for so many people. And it's really, really heartbreaking. I just want to hug him. I want to hug him. And I raising little kids, having two boys, I want them to always have a safe space. But like, what would happen? I think, oh my gosh, what would happen if I got sick and my kids didn't have a safe space? At least they have their father, but he didn't. And so it's heavy, and it's important. And it's one that I think, I don't know if it's going to get picked up by people, but it needs to be. Like, if you have Amazon First Reads and you can get this for June, grab it. But it comes out on the 1st of July. And I mean, the cover with the mended heart with tape. And I know the rest of it's going to be really hard. And so, but it's important. So I would recommend it already. It's just, it is heavy, 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 heavy. So I'm trying to figure out what to read so I don't, like, what to read with it so I don't just get super depressed, because being super depressed for me, I can't do that. Like, I can't function, so I need to. And so I've been looking at what I picked up from the library, which is The Cipher, which is a horror, terrifying book. So that one's probably not going to be it. I might read Inkblood Sister Scribe that came last week. I also picked up another one by Shauna McGuire, Over the Woodward Wall. She does this one's her kids pseudonym, which is A. Deborah Baker. And this one is about different worlds or something. Another portal fantasy, I think, by her. And then Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, which is kind of a Scooby-Doo type-esque book. And so I also have The Animators by Kayla Whitaker. Is that what it is? But I have that on my Kindle, and I want to start that one. But I heard about that one from the evening reader, Priscilla. And it sounds like a book that I'm gonna love. It's like friends who started animation. I went to school for animation. I started school for animation and went and did a Disney internship and had a mental breakdown. So I worked at the Disney parks, so I hadn't gotten into the professional. And since then, it's just my life kind of changed from there. And so I always was like, okay, animation was what I wanted. Well, last October, after being out of school for 10 years and getting my degree in English, I went to a animation kind of art conference called Lightbox, and it's for up-and-coming animators and people working in the animation industry. And I got to go into panels, and I got the perspective of, okay, I'm really glad I didn't make this decision to do this and go through this path, because women animators struggle really hard, especially when they have kids, and I wanted kids. And getting to hear their struggles. So this is like women struggling in animation. I'm really excited because I know the actual, like, I've chatted with and had conversations with women who have went freelance rather than working for the industry, because the industry is tough. And so I'm excited to pick that one up, and I'm like, is it gonna be, I hope it's less dark and hard, and I think it is. I think it's heartwarming, if I remember correctly, but I'm trying to balance it. So I've got, yeah, I'm in a weird spot. I'm in a weird spot, but I get to, I'm back into my normal routine where I get to wake up in the morning, go out to my patio, and read books on, like, in the sun, in the warmth, and my kids don't wake up right away. Having just a normal routine back I'm excited. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books, or if there's anything that you would recommend that's kind of light that would go along with maybe an LGBTQ plus recommendation that's a little bit happier than this really heavy memoir. And I just, I've already read House in the Cerulean Sea. Maybe I should pick it back up. But I do have In the Lives of Puppets, but I've heard that one's a little bit different. I'm scared to read that one yet. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you have any recommendations for like a buddy read system or a book club that is maybe a little bit less thriller, horror, mystery, I'd love to hear. Love to hear. And I appreciate you being here. If you haven't already liked this video, give it a like and comment and subscribe if you want to subscribe. It really helps my channel grow, and I'm really happy to be here. I've missed making videos the last week. It's kind of crazy how you can go just a week and miss it. And so I appreciate you. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye, guys.